The Internet Archive is in last-ditch, last-minute settlement negotiations in the lawsuit of Universal Music Group and Sony v. Internet Archive. And this is all stemming from a case that was launched, about 2 or 3 years back now, where the Internet Archive, where archive.org had been distributing specifically 2,749 songs, audio recordings. And those specific recordings were primarily copyrighted and currently under copyright by Universal Music Group, as well as Sony and a few others. Because of the Internet Archive's, the way they were freely distributing those songs without permission, regardless of what you think of this or not, it's just the way the law works, the potential damages here, if the Internet Archive is found guilty, are upwards of 412 million US. And based on past similar rulings where people have pirated music and the like, there is very good reason to think that at least a large portion of that would get fined for the Internet Archive, which would absolutely, unequivocally put the Internet Archive out of business. Completely and totally. There's just, that is so many factors more than what they bring in every year that there's just no chance of them surviving that. I mean, no one's going to come to the Internet Archive's rescue with a $400 million check in this case, right? So the Internet Archive is in negotiations. I was checking the court case, and this was updated on just at the end of August. I think August 29th, something like that. And another update, a joint status report regarding settlement negotiations in Universal Media Recordings Group, Capitol Records, Concord Bicycle Assets, CMGI Recorded Music, Sony Entertainment, and Arista Music, etc. versus Internet Archive, including Brewster Kahle, George Blood, and George Blood LP. I'm just going to read you the update here because it's somewhat interesting. Pursuant to the court's August 22nd order, the defendant, Internet Archive and Brewster Kahle, and the plaintiffs, Universal Media Group, Sony, etc., jointly write to provide the court with an update regarding the progress of their settlement negotiations. The parties' settlement discussions remain ongoing. The parties have exchanged multiple settlement proposals and continue to make progress on a resolution of this matter without the court's intervention. As a result, the parties jointly propose that they continue their negotiations and provide additional joint status reports to the court at least every 14 days or promptly upon resolution of this matter, dated August 29th. Now, here's the thing. The court ordered this, right? So the court ordered the timeline here of updates every 14 days. So every 2 weeks during the negotiations, the two parties have to file a joint statement to the judge saying we're still actively working on it. If either party breaks off negotiations at any point, they can just say, no, we're done with negotiations. The case moves forward. If it moves forward, if negotiations break down, the Internet Archive is in bad shape. Their best bet here is negotiations. Unfortunately, realistically, the Universal Media Group have the Internet Archive over a barrel on this one, because the way the Internet Archive was providing all of that copyrighted material, all of that music, they can't really deny it. The Internet Archive, whether you like the Internet Archive or not, and I like the Internet Archive, was acting as a piracy website. There was very little difference here to what, say, the Pirate Bay or something like that, or LimeWire or something like that does, with one key difference. And the key difference is an important one when it comes to the Internet Archive. So the big difference here is not only were they acting as a clearinghouse and a search engine for finding copyrighted pirated materials, the Internet Archive was themselves hosting it. knowingly, and continued to host it after people pointed that out to them and complained about it. So they knowingly, absolutely broke the law. There's no fighting this one. A lot of you guys might remember there was the Hatchet and Random House v. Internet Archive lawsuit. That lawsuit got concluded, and in the end, the Internet Archive survived it. The Internet Archive was found guilty because they were publishing copyrighted books. They took books that were not only in copyright but still actively being sold, including like books that were barely out of hardback and being sold by publishers. Internet Archive scanned the physical books and put the digital copies online for everyone to download. And they did so in an unlimited fashion. So as many people as wanted could go in there and download free copies of books that the Internet Archive did not have the rights to give away. So they worked hard to pirate those books. Whether you agree with what the Internet Archive did or not, under the law, that's what they did, is they pirated the books. Now, they were found guilty. The Internet Archive appealed it. The court slapped the Internet Archive down and said, "Are you kidding me? You pirated the books." I mean, you basically stated flat out that you should pirate the books. And this is crazy. The Internet Archive's defense in the Hatchet v. Internet Archive case was that the Internet Archive should be allowed to pirate material and give it away for free because, and this is not a joke, you can go back and check some of my old coverage of this, because they spent so much money doing it. Literally, their legal defense was, we, the Internet Archive, should be allowed to violate the law because we invested significantly in violating the law. It's like that's like the mafia buying a garbage company and saying, "Hey, Your Honor, we should be allowed to kill people and dispose of their bodies and run a protection racket because we spent a lot of money on these garbage trucks. We spent a lot of money. A lot of people couldn't spend money on garbage trucks like that. So we should be allowed to break the law, but not them because they didn't spend the money on the garbage trucks," right? That's basically, in a nutshell, the Internet Archive's defense. It was the stupidest defense I think I maybe have ever seen. And the judge agreed and just slapped them down. Now, the publishers were actually pretty cool about it. The publishers came up with kind of an after-the-fact settlement around it, and the Internet Archive agreed to stop doing it, and the publishers just kind of said, okay, and walked away from it. Now, this one, the Universal Music Group and Sony v. Internet Archive, remains to be seen. Technically, Universal and Sony could do something really nice too and say, yeah, as long as you stop doing it and apologize and promise not to do it in the future, no more stealing music and sending it to people, and walk away. But they don't have to, right? I mean, if we like the Internet Archive, we'd want to think that Universal and Sony will be, magnanimous and the good guys and what, blah, 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 and just walk away from it. But we don't know if that'll actually happen. And they don't have to do that. Now, the next update in this should be coming on Monday, on the 14th or the 13th. So this weekend, so Saturday, Sunday. So we'll probably get another update by Monday. I'll keep an eye out for it, but I've heard no rumblings behind the scenes that a settlement has been reached. Not yet. As soon as I hear that a settlement's been reached, I'll let everybody know, because it really could shut down the Internet Archive. Whether you like them or not, whether you think they had it coming or they didn't, it's a pretty big deal. And that means that the Internet Wayback Machine and all of that goes away, because the Internet Archive stupidly put the Wayback Machine and their book piracy site and their software piracy site and their music piracy site. And I know a bunch of people are angry at me for using the word piracy, but it's what they do. I like them as a service, but it's what they do. They put them all under the same legal entity. So when they get sued, the whole thing goes together. I don't know how they could have made such a boneheaded move. And I don't know how they haven't rectified this. It is absolutely asinine to me that the entirety of the Internet Archive exists under one business umbrella at this point. It's absolutely insane. They should not be doing that. But then again, their legal counsel is terrible. I mean, it's like when you look at the Hatchet v. Internet Archive defense of, we spent a lot of money breaking the law, so Your Honor, I should be allowed to keep doing that. Terrible mafia accent, but you get my point. It's really like, I don't understand how you can have common sense, let alone pass the bar, and still make those sorts of arguments. And so it makes sense that the Internet Archive is also getting bad business advice and just has bad business heads on their shoulders. But we'll see how it all works out. We'll watch. I'll keep tabs on all of it. Thank you to Lunduke Journal subscribers for allowing me to do all this coverage. No big tech support. No money from big tech, not a dime from sponsorships or paid ad spots or advertising, none of it. The Lunduke Journal is wholly supported by all of you. I could not do this without your support. And a lot of these stories, if you look back over just the last couple of weeks, at least half the stories were never covered by any other tech outlet, period. Not just that the Lunduke Journal broke the stories, not just that the Lunduke Journal provided the most in-depth coverage on the stories, and not just that the Lunduke Journal provided the only non-woke perspective on the stories, but the only time the stories were ever even discussed. Probably about half over the last month. Crazy, absolutely crazy, and it's thanks to all of you that it's possible. So go to lunduke.com, subscribe if you can. But all the shows, all the articles, they're all free regardless, because all of this stuff needs to get out there. People need to know what's happening in the world. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across this vast and glorious intertube of ours, I do declare, end broadcast.